It was supposed to be a perfect getaway. Just me and Lily, my best friend since childhood, spending a weekend at the secluded Crescent Beach. The locals called it the Forgotten Shore, but we just thought it was the perfect escape from reality. We arrived just before sunset, setting up our tent a few meters from the water. The beach was breathtaking, crystal clear waves, soft white sand, and a horizon kissed by the sinking sun. As night fell, we lit a small campfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories from our chaotic college life. Around midnight, Lily insisted on a swim. I hesitated. Something about the inky black water gave me chills, but Lily was fearless. She sprinted into the waves, her laughter echoing. I watched as she swam farther, her silhouette growing smaller. Then, the laughter stopped. "Lily," I called out, but the waves swallowed my voice. Panic surged. I waded into the cold water, searching for any sign of her. Suddenly, Lily emerged, gasping and clawing at the water. I rushed over, pulling her to shore. "What happened?" I asked, trembling. Her eyes were wide, her lips quivering. Something grabbed my ankle. We stared at the dark water, but nothing seemed out of place. I tried to laugh it off, convincing her it was probably seaweed. Lily didn't buy it, but we decided to huddle by the fire, trying to forget the incident. A few hours passed and Lily fell asleep. I stayed awake, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. The fire crackled and then I heard it. A whisper. At first I thought it was the wind, but then it grew louder, almost like chanting. I leaned closer to the waves, straining to listen. "We found you. We found you." A shiver raced down my spine. I turned to wake Lily, but she was gone. My heart pounded as I scanned the beach. Then I saw her, standing knee-deep in the water, her back to me. "Lily," I shouted, running towards her. As I reached her, I froze. Lily's head slowly turned, but her eyes, those weren't Lily's eyes. They were pale, almost translucent, and empty. She smiled, her mouth stretching too wide. "They're calling me," she whispered. Before I could react, she walked deeper into the water, her movements stiff and unnatural. I lunged to grab her, but something cold and slick wrapped around my ankle. I fell, yanked towards the waves. In my struggle, I glimpsed hands, pale, skeletal hands, emerging from the surf, clawing at me. I screamed, kicking wildly, and managed to break free. When I looked back, Lily was gone, swallowed by the ocean. I never found her. The police combed the beach, but there was no trace. I know what I saw, though. Crescent Beach wasn't just forgotten, it was haunted. And somewhere beneath those whispering waves, Lily is still there, waiting for me to join her. The campfire crackled, casting flickering shadows on our faces as we huddled in the dense woods of Blackthorn Forest. There were 5 of us, all 16, stupidly fearless, chasing a thrill for our summer break. I'm Jake, and my friends, Lila, Max, Sarah, and Ethan, were laughing, passing around marshmallows, oblivious to the creeping chill that wasn't just the night air. We'd heard the rumors about Blackthorn, missing hikers, strange lights, whispers of something ancient lurking. But we were teens, invincible, right? It started with the noise. A low, guttural hum, like a distant engine, vibrating through the ground. Max, always the skeptic, said it was a truck on the highway. But there was no highway for miles. Lila's eyes darted to the trees, her voice shaky. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. We froze, straining to listen. Nothing, just the wind. Ethan, trying to lighten the mood, tossed a stick into the fire, but his grin faltered when the hum returned, louder, closer. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on us. We should have packed up then, but Sarah insisted we were imagining things. So we stayed, zipping into our tents, pretending to sleep. Around 2 a.m., I woke to Lila shaking me, her face pale. "Something's outside," she hissed. I heard it too. Footsteps, deliberate, circling the camp. Not a deer, not a bear. Too rhythmic, too human, but wrong. I grabbed my flashlight, heart pounding, and unzipped the tent. The beam caught nothing but trees, but the footsteps stopped. Dead silence. Then a scream. Sarah's. We bolted to her tent. It was shredded, claw marks raking the fabric. Sarah was gone. Ethan yelled her name, his voice cracking, but the forest swallowed it. Panic set in. Max grabbed his hunting knife, the only weapon we had, and we stuck close, scanning the darkness. That's when we saw it. A figure, tall, impossibly thin, standing just beyond the firelight. Its eyes, God, those eyes, glowed like dying embers, unblinking. It didn't move, but I felt it watching, peeling away my courage. We ran, branches tearing at our skin, the hum now a deafening pulse in our ears. Lila tripped, and when I pulled her up, the figure was closer, its limbs twitching unnaturally. We didn't stop. We couldn't. Survival mode kicked in, pure, raw instinct. We found a ravine and hid, crouching in the mud, barely breathing. Ethan whispered about an old ranger station nearby, a chance for help. It was our only shot. The thing hunted us. It didn't chase. It stalked, always just out of sight, its presence a weight on our chests. We moved silently, but the forest itself seemed against us. Trees creaked, shadows shifted, and once, I swear, I saw Sarah's silhouette, motionless, staring from the fog. Max grabbed my arm, shaking his head. "It's not her," he mouthed. My stomach twisted. What was it? Hours blurred into a nightmare. Lila was sobbing, Ethan's hands shook, and Max's knife felt useless. The ranger station appeared like a miracle, a dilapidated shack with a rusted radio. I fumbled with the dials, praying for a signal. Static. Then a voice, garbled but human. "Get out. It's not human." The line cut dead. The hum surged, shaking the walls. The thing was here. We barricaded the door, but it didn't matter. The window exploded inward, and there it was. Too tall, too wrong. Its face a mockery of flesh, mouth splitting into a jagged grin. Lila screamed. Max swung his knife, but it didn't flinch. Ethan shoved us toward a back exit, yelling, "Go!" We stumbled into the dawn, the creature's screech searing our ears. Somehow, the light seemed to slow it, and we ran until we hit a road, flagging down a trucker who didn't believe us, but drove us to safety. They never found Sarah. The cops called it a bear attack, but we knew better. Blackthorn took her, and whatever that thing was, it's still out there, waiting. I don't sleep much anymore. Every hum, every shadow feels like it's watching. We survived, but at what cost? Jake and Emma had been dating for 2 years, and this weekend getaway was a much-needed escape from their busy city lives. They chose a remote mountain campsite known for its scenic trails and quiet solitude. As they drove up the winding roads, the sun dipped low, casting golden hues across the towering pines. At the campsite, they met Greg, an older man with a weathered face and a warm smile. He was the designated guide and offered to show them a secluded spot just off the main trail. Grateful, Jake and Emma followed him as he led them through a narrow, unmarked path. "This place isn't on the maps," Greg said with a wink, "but it's the best view of the mountains, and you'll hear the river echoing through the valley at night. Magical, really." They set up camp as dusk settled in. After a cozy dinner around the fire, they heard it for the first time, a faint, melodic humming drifting from the trees. At first, they thought it was just the wind, but the melody was distinct, almost human. Greg looked uneasy. "You hear that?" Jake whispered, and Emma nodded, her hand tightening around his. Greg poked at the fire, his face taut. "Old legends," he mumbled. The locals say the mountains keep memories, echoes of people who wandered too far. Just as Jake was about to ask more, the humming grew louder, closer. Emma's eyes widened as she pointed into the darkness, dim figures moving between the trees. Greg stood abruptly. "We're not alone," he whispered. They tried to rationalize it, maybe other campers, maybe animals, but the humming continued, growing more distorted, like a record playing backward. Shadows moved closer, and then the whispers began. "Leave," they heard, overlapping voices whispering in a dozen tones. Jake shone his flashlight, but the beam seemed to dissolve into the darkness. Greg cursed under his breath. Back to the car. Now. They hurried, but the forest seemed to change around them. Familiar paths twisted and stretched. Emma stumbled, scraping her knee, but Jake helped her up, his pulse pounding. Greg kept glancing back, his face pale. Suddenly, the humming stopped, replaced by a loud, shuddering wail that seemed to vibrate through the trees. Greg pulled them into a narrow clearing. "This isn't right. The path should be here." Just then, a figure appeared, a woman, pale and soaked, her hair matted. She reached out, whispering, "Help me." But when Jake took a step toward her, Greg yanked him back. "She's not real," Greg hissed. The figure dissolved like mist, leaving behind a chill. They moved faster, but Greg tripped, hitting his shoulder against a rock. Groaning, he insisted they keep moving. Finally, they found the main trail, but the wailing followed, softer now, almost like laughter. At the car, Greg collapsed into the passenger seat, clutching his injured arm. As Jake drove down the mountain, Emma glanced back. Through the trees, she saw shadows standing still, watching, their faces blank. The next morning, they reported the incident to the park ranger, who nodded knowingly. "You're not the first. The mountain's been like that for years. People hear the echoes, past hikers who vanished or something else. Best to stay on marked trails." Jake and Emma never returned to those mountains. Greg recovered from his injuries, but he never spoke of that night again. Even now, when they tell the story, they can still hear that humming in their dreams, an echo that refuses to fade. Did you feel the chills too? Have you ever experienced something like this? Drop your scary experiences in the comments below, and I might share them in my next video. Also, if you think you can handle more spine-chilling tales, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.